thing is here, this is the reality of life. Men created a society to protect women. That is not my opinion. That's a fact. Gender roles emerged out of the requirement that women survive. Men don't need to. If you have 100 men and 100 women in a tribe and 99 men die, it'll be rough. But that civilization can survive because women can create people. You only need one guy, but you need every woman. If you have the same situation and 99 women die, society collapses. 100 men cannot repopulate their civilization. It will perhaps survive, but it'll be crippled, as there can only be one human created every 9 months, and it is a strenuous act. It's tough. This is why women were overprotected throughout human history. It's evolution. Evolutionary biologists will tell you this. I'm not saying this to disparage women. It's a fact. So the gender roles were created where women would be protected, largely from other men too, violent men who didn't care. These women are now experiencing the Wild West of the internet, and they're freaking out because they don't like it. They don't like the fact that the world is actually unsafe, and men are the ones who are largely the protectors and perpetrators of a lot of the aggression on the planet, if not most of it. But this is a reality for people who pay attention, and it's not for these women who have lived in a bubble their whole lives. Society was safe. We lived in a golden age. We had limited war. We had cheap gas. You didn't have to do much work. Let's take a pause. I challenge this woman to actually swear off men. And that is, any industry that is dominated by men, say like the oil industry, don't use those products. The reality is she's suckling the teat of men, and she will never stop. Men work the petroleum engineer jobs, 90-some-odd%, 99% I think it is, 95. Would this woman survive on her own in the middle of the woods? Most men wouldn't. Would 10 women survive on their own in the middle of the woods? Most men wouldn't. But unfortunately, I tell you this. If you took 10 men and put them in the middle of the woods, they'd likely survive, and then they would grow old and die, and that would be the end of existence. If you put 10 women in the middle of the woods with nothing, they would not last nearly as long as the men. They would die. But if you put men and women together, as humans are, the men will produce a stable food supply. If they're a successful tribe, not every human tribe is successful, the women will create more life, something men cannot do. And the men will protect them with their lives. And society will continue to grow because men and women need each other to work together. Men can lift heavy rocks, but they can't create humans. Women have a harder time lifting heavy rocks, but they can make life. I saw this video, you've probably seen it, and it's two 16-year-old farm boys versus two female power lifters, and they do tug of war and like rolling tires, and of course the 16-year-old boys win. And the funny thing about that is, I don't need to watch that. That's stupid. Okay, have a life-creating contest. Yeah, the guys are going to lose. See, the women can at least lift things. They can also make life. Men can lift things better than women, but they can't. So I'll put it this way. Men may be the best at physical sports, but they're the worst at making people. Women are slightly below average relative to men in sports, but they can still do sports, and they can also create life. That's why women are more important. And men who get mad about it and complain about it and say it's unfair, cry more. That's the reality of nature. The issue is women who should be celebrated for this ability and protected and cherished are raised as men. And they're told to ignore this, and it's something to be disdained. And it's kind of crazy if you ask me. Right now, what we're seeing politically is what we've seen in many different mass movements. This is, let me pull up this image. Look at this. The sharp shift in leaned partisanship is not, look at this. Millennial men have stayed the same. Millennial women, men have skewed down slightly into 2017, a little bit, but women jumped massively. Men are staying just about the same politically, even as they age and new generations step in, and women are being radicalized. I think it was Steve Bannon who said, when the women rise up, you get a revolution. Take for it what you will. That's just it. I'll leave it there. I don't know if we're going to have any more segments this weekend, but